No
Sure.
real Hollywood types?
Well, no, but I have this funny story. We played in Paris,
Okay.
and we were staying at this beautiful hotel in Paris, and Mike Rutherford told me the story, and because I met this person later, and he says I was on my he had a terrace in his room, and he says, and there was another guy over there, and he kind of waved to him, and the guy went to go back into his room, and the door was locked. He couldn't get back in his room. He'd go, honey, honey. He was like, dude.
It's the human condition.
And Mike said, do you need some help? And he says, yeah, I can't get in. Can you maybe see if maybe the front door? So Mike went around to his hotel door, and he wanted to see if maybe the door was open or knock on the door, because his wife was inside, apparently.
Sure, okay.
You know, because he's saying, my wife's in there, so and she locked me out. Well, she wasn't there. She must have left the room. So Mike Rutherford then called security and came up, and they unlocked the door. It was Billy Joel.
Oh,
It was
Well,
great.
no, I know why. The wife was taking her afternoon nap.
Yes, right. No, she wasn't there. She had gone down to the lobby to get something, and by accident locked the door behind her.
That is so funny.
And so then after that, I met Billy Joel for the first time.
Nice guy?
Yeah, nice guy, great
Yeah.
guy.
well, we've interviewed him, and he was a really great guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
so
fun.
much so that we were getting, sometimes you do the interview, and they'll buzz you in your earphones just to tell
Yeah.
you the interview's over. He paid no attention.
No attention at all.
He was
Yeah.
just like, screw that,
Well,
I'll keep talking.
You mentioned McKella, so did McKella and the girls get a chance to come over for a while then? Or?
Yeah, actually, McKella came out for 2 weeks of rehearsals in Brussels, and then went home, and then came out about the middle of the tour. And then my girls came out for London last week of the tour.
Okay.
And what was really kind of interesting about that is my daughter Kelly and my daughter Fiona came out, and Kelly was there, and she got a surprise of her life. Her boyfriend flew over and then proposed marriage to her.
How cool is that? All right, now wait a minute.
In Hyde Park.
Did he do the old-fashioned? Did he ask for permission first? Did you know
He
this
did.
was coming? Okay, very nice.
About 3 months earlier, I was
Okay.
very surprised. It was a very traditional type of thing. We went to a restaurant and asked our permission, our blessing.
Very nice.
And so we knew all about this. We knew he was going to come. But we couldn't say anything, which is the hardest thing to do. You think you're going to blow it, too. Talking to your daughter. Say, well, when you and Fiona and Chris come over,
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and what was kind of nice about it, too, is because I went into Hyde Park with him, and we made up this thing that my daughter and my daughters and McKella are going to meet me in Hyde Park, and we're going to have tea at this place next to this nice duck pond and everything. So I was there with, his name is Chris, and we sat there for a while, and I was like the lookout to see when they were coming.
Okay.
And so they came, and I
That's
started,
very
I met them outside, and I started taking photos of them, like by the duck pond. And I said, make sure you keep looking this way, because I said the sun's kind of in your eyes, and that's because I knew he was going to be walking.
Sure.
And finally, then I said, now look over this way.
Uh-huh.
And then he's walking towards her.
And she's like, oh my God.
She was, oh my God, because she thought he was just surprising her there, but didn't realize.
Sure, what the big surprise really was.
Yeah, even though that was a big enough surprise.
Okay, so now here's the question. Who does Daryl Stuermer hire as the wedding band?
Or what
Ask
DJ?
us to DJ.
KLH. Dave and Carole KV.
We'll be out there scratching.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing Daddy's Little Girl.
By Al Martino. That's right. Oh, that's always a fun thing.
Yeah,
so you guys go up to Toronto and you rehearse, and then you get back underway. And how long is this next leg of the tour?
I think it's about 6 weeks or so, and and I don't think that's going to be the end of it. I think they're already talking about doing some more, not in the States right away or anything like that, but maybe next year, because I think everybody's having such a good time. It's been 15 years since the band's been together, and it feels honestly like a family reunion. All of our kids are some of them the age we were when I joined the band. I was 25 when I joined it. Now, I have a 26-year-old daughter.
Sure.
Tony Banks' daughter is 25. These kids are all.
And they kind of grew up together in a
did.
sense because you guys were in the band together,
and they're all hanging out. We did the live wrist show. And that was really an interesting situation, because that night we also had to play in Manchester, England. So we opened Live Earth, I think it was at about 2:20 in the afternoon.
and that was at Wembley Stadium.
That's at Wembley Stadium, right. And so we came there to do that. And what was fun about that, too, is we left all of our kids, the young adults that we now have, there to hang out together. And they had like a little VIP section that they could be at. And they got to see all these celebrities that were there. And they hadn't hung out for like 15 years. So, I mean, most of them were like about, 9, 12 years old when
Sure,
they knew each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
So it was really a great time. So we came up to Live Earth, and we did Live Earth, and we played 4 songs. And then we had to get right up back up to the airport and get on a plane and then fly up to Manchester, England, and then do a show that night. It was the longest day.
I can imagine.
Have you gotten emails from people who, just fans who have gone to see the show and their reaction to it? Because it sounds like, from all the things that I've seen and read, it sounds like the families are treating this like a family reunion too.
Right.
Where it's kind of like, oh, we're so excited to be here. It's been such a long time, and gosh, the music sounds just like it used to. Is that the kind of thing you're hearing?
Yeah, it is. And I didn't know what the reaction was going to be like, because a lot of people first were writing us, and what songs are you going to play? They were giving us song lists to play
that they would like to hear.
They would like to hear, but you can't please everybody.
Right.
So we have this song list, and it really kind of spans the whole time. And obviously we're not going to play everything that people, because we only have
you can't.
You can't. So there's such a back catalog of stuff, but people have been generally happy with it. That's the emails I've been getting, that they like what they've been hearing. Of course, they would like to hear one other one. Could you add this one? But you can't. If you take one out, that's going to be one that someone else likes.
Well, I can encourage people to go to Daryl's website, because I have been reading some of the emails that you're getting, and they are great emails. I love the one where the guy actually went to see your show and then happened to be in the airport with you flying back to O'Hare. Yeah. And he said he was like the only one. He was like standing there going, "Do you guys know who this is? This is Daryl Stuermer."
I remember him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think it was on my way back home, I think. And he just came up to me. He says, "You're Daryl Stuermer, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Why doesn't anybody else know that?" And I said, "Because I'm not really that high profile. I kind of keep a low profile."
But I bet you kind of like that, though.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
I mean, I would kind of like that, because you get the flavor of the whole thing, but yet at the same time you can kind of withdraw, and you can walk the streets of some of these towns if you get a couple hours and not be completely mobbed.
Mostly the only time that I do get recognized, if it's in the town I'm playing, that Genesis is playing.
Sure.
Or if I'm if I'm walking with Mike Rutherford.
Oh, okay.
Because Mike looks like a star. There's just something. I mean, if you look
it's like KB, like when you walk around KB.
Yeah.
You just know. You know what I mean? You just know.
Well, that's really true. That Mike is very, very
exactly like that.
He's very tall. He's got great hair, and even if you don't know who he is, you go, "I know he's got to be with somebody."
Yeah, he's somebody.
I can see him with like a jacket with the collar kind of turned up, with the scarf around the neck.
He does the
kind
scarf.
of hangs down. Oh yeah.
He does a scarf.
Sure.
Yeah, and he's very stylish kind of guy. Where I can walk with Tony Banks, and no one will probably know unless they're a big fan. So most people don't go, "Oh, there's Tony Banks, there's Daryl Stuermer." And one time I was recognized before Tony, and he didn't like that. You know what it is? Tony Banks is like the genius of the band. He's actually, in a sense, he's the sound. Other than, Phil's voice is but all the music is really pretty much based around the keyboard sound.
Right.
And I think sometimes he wishes he could get the respect, but he doesn't need the celebrity, But sometimes he doesn't get it because they don't know who he is.
That's really interesting. Yeah. And how have you enjoyed? Because last time you were here, before you left, you talked about how you were going to play bass and guitar, depending on what the song was.
Yes.
You enjoying doing that?
Oh, I love it. And I'm playing. Actually, I'm probably playing bass maybe a little over 50% of the time. Maybe not much, but it's about 50-50 at this point. Okay. But the guitar stuff that I do have is pretty featured. So it's kind of big moments for me. Like we're in the middle of the show, and you're on this huge screen, and I didn't know that.
What a totally cool stage
you
setup.
See that? Yeah. It's. I didn't know this until I looked on YouTube, or my wife Michaela was saying, "You should see yourself on this big screen." I'm going, "Oh my God," because I can't look back. I'm not looking back when I'm doing this, and I looked on YouTube.
I couldn't look at it anyhow. I really couldn't.
It's just like, well, it was really funny. The guy who actually designed this whole thing, after we were rehearsing, we were doing this in Brussels. And he says, it's okay to wear some eye makeup and things like that.
So, in other words, he was trying to, that's like his nice way of saying, you really could use a little bit of...
Well, he wasn't saying it to me. He was saying it to the band in general.
Okay.
Phil. And I'm the youngest guy in the band, and I'm 54. You know what I mean? So, It's really something. And so when you
Not an age to start experimenting with makeup.
exactly. I mean, they know what we look like now. But he was even McKella was saying that when you see us on the high definition screen, you can see every pore.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean these things are over 30 feet high. So
I'll tell you, I love YouTube. I mean,
I watch it all
I'm
the
a
time.
huge fan of YouTube.
Me
You can
too.
see so many cool things on there.
There's a lot of the old Genesis stuff on there, and I
Yes.
have to say that the Doug Henning look that you had in the early '80s was quite impressive.
Boy, there's a reference back. People don't know who Doug Henning is.
it's the perm and the mustache.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you had the perm and the stash.
I
It's
had
an illusion.
I had hair. I had a hair then. Lots of it.
We have Daryl Stuermer of Genesis in the studio, of course, getting caught up on the Turn It On Again tour. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back.